What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Tactical Foul. My name is Tigo. That is my good friend Kevin. We're going to try to breeze through today's episode because honestly, I am going through a hurricane right now in Florida, and we're doing a bunch of different things, and we're both crazy busy. But before we get into all of the stuff that happened last week, all the stuff that's going to happen this week, Kevin, my friend, how are you doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I am kind of excited for this season, and I've just been looking at the games, and man, I mean, it's just so early to tell what's going to happen with just 5 games. I
Yeah.
normally go 5 game to 5 game, so we can talk. I feel like we can pretty much establish which teams are doing good and which teams aren't.
We have a good grasp of what teams
Yeah, but
might be.
a good grasp. But like when we're talking hypotheticals, we could always say, "Oh, the best team is doing well," but it's a long season, and
Exactly.
so we've got a lot to kind of go through as far as the teams that are doing well and the teams that aren't. And I mean, you tell me how you feel about right now. We could start with City because I feel like we're going to start getting really sidetracked if we start talking about Barcelona right away or Real Madrid, But let's
Um,
talk about City
I,
and the Premier League.
Obviously,
And
for those of you who don't know, we talked about the Rodri injury in a couple of days ago. We posted something about that.
yes,
So if you're interested to know about our thoughts about there, we're not going to talk about Rodri's injury in this episode because we did a whole dedicated video talking about Rodri and his injury in a separate video. So if you're interested in that, go and watch that. But what I will say is this. I think the Premier League is going to be a lot more fun than maybe I had originally anticipated. Because obviously City are still out there dominating in a big way, going out there and 4 of 5 wins, a draw. They've only dropped 2 points. Erling Haaland has more goals than every team in the Premier League except Chelsea. Like, the team is performing at an exceptional rate, but so are a lot of the teams that I didn't expect to be there. Arsenal are still in the place. They're in 4th place right now with 2 draws. Aston Villa and Liverpool are both in 2nd and 3rd place. 3rd and 2nd place, respectively, both having 1 loss, but only a point behind. And Chelsea, a team that I had no faith in, they're in 5th place right now. Obviously, like you said, we're still so early on, and we might see some competition at the top. But from what I've seen from City, I can say relatively confidently that I think they have a good grip on the league. And as long as another catastrophe doesn't happen, I don't see them slowing down, not in the Premier League. Now, how they handle the other tournaments and the other games and the other series, I don't know. But Holland looks very motivated to try to win his Ballon d'Or this year.
yeah, I mean, if we're talking about City, I think City are doing they're doing good things, and I can't deny that they're right now. I mean, look like the best team in the Premier League. But I just feel like maybe I mean it's a long season. We don't know
Yes.
what's going to happen. We don't know the schedule, and the schedule always has a lot to do with how the season's going to go. Because sometimes, in a crucial moment, a certain team gets a better team than the other,
Look
and
at
then you
West
go back
Ham.
and forth as to who's playing better opponents and at that time. So I think this. I think City are doing well. However, their draw against Arsenal was concerning.
Hmm.
Their draw against Arsenal was concerning. And this isn't to say that they're going to slow down anytime soon. I mean, who knows? They picked it back up sort of against Watford, but we talked about how they didn't really use any
No, they didn't play anybody.
of their starting players. A big thing I think that is also kind of that I'm noticing about City is Foden has disappeared this season.
Hasn't played. I don't
He's
think he
not
started this year.
there, but it's surprising to me. Like because every season, and we talked about how Phil Foden has always been a really good addition to Pep's fit in really well for Pep's system, and how that didn't, kind of emulate in the international team. But I think it is a little weird that he's not, and he's found answers in the wings. but he's found some answers in the wings, but that aren't Foden. But it is surprising because Foden plays so many different positions. I mean, he goes and plays in the center mid, he goes and plays in the wing as a false nine, and for him not to be using him this season, I feel like is part of like I feel like City looked different, and I don't
Yeah.
know how to pinpoint my finger on it, but I'm like it could be a factor. Right now, it hasn't been, but it could be a factor of either it's going to make or break them being different. Either they are going to keep adapting to the difference of what they're used to playing like because they're playing different, even though the different is still good, and then losing Rodri as an option, is that going to affect your season? Which it could, but it hasn't.
Yeah.
I get that.
And that's my thing too that I think is very interesting, specifically with City, is that, well, like you said, Foden has been such an important part of that team in the past, and without him, they look insanely good this year. Rodri's first start was against Arsenal, and even without him, they've looked insanely good. And so I think that, like, I think City, it almost seems like City is playing with more creativity up top. No Grealish. They're not really playing Grealish. They're choosing to instead rely on players, especially in that central midfield, to rely on Rico Lewis and Kovacic and Gundogan, who just showed up, and Silva and De
Okay, but let me
Bruyne.
ask you this: do those players look game changing enough to keep this City going for the whole season?
Not as individuals, but as a unit, yes. I've never thought that individually, outside of KDB, and then when Haaland came in, that they really had anybody that was game-changing as an individual. And I still don't think that.
Okay, and out of all of the teams that you see that are below them right now,
Mm-hmm.
do you see any of the teams being a challenge for them in the Premier League?
Define challenge. Like, actually,
Like
I think that they can win.
I think not. They're going to be fighting for the top spot.
Oh, yeah. I think Liverpool can fight for the top spot. I think Arsenal can fight for the top spot. Here's the thing. I think that there's a lot of teams that can fight and not win. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be impressive for you to stay in the ring for 12 rounds against City. Like, that's an impressive achievement. But if you still get KO'd in the 12th round, it's still a knockout. Whether you get knocked out in the first round or whether you get knocked out in the 12th round, it's still a knockout.
I get it.
And that's the way that I look at it with City. It's just like, it doesn't matter how long you last.
Question is like, do you see that happening? Do you see a way that this year one of those teams could beat City? Do you see that happening?
No. I just don't. I don't see a world where
you don't see any team right now, even including Liverpool.
No, none of the
right
teams.
Now.
I don't think Liverpool. Like, it's like, look, Liverpool being as good as they are right now, totally surprising. I love it because I think that they can actually push City, and hopefully City doesn't win the league. Arsenal are Arsenal, and we'll see as time goes on. Can they do anything? No team. Like I said, dude, there's only one team that has outscored Haaland, and that's Chelsea. That's the only team that's outscored Haaland. And that is a City without Rodri, without Foden, like that is a City team that wasn't really even playing Silva all that well. A City team that has missed out with like Stones and Walker and Ake, who haven't really been, like, they've been rotating in that back three that they're playing. Like, that to me, Grealish hasn't been getting a ton of minutes. Like, that's the point, which is just like, I think City could very easily from one game go out there with a starting lineup of, like across that front four behind Haaland of Savio, De Bruyne, Silva, Doku, and then in the very next game go to Grealish, Gundo, Foden, and freaking who else? Who's the other guy? I forget his name. No, yeah, and like just put like KDB in there, and those front fours are just as good and interchangeable. Like that, I think is my point, which is just they're just so deep that their first teams and their second teams are better than everybody else, and I think that just because Arsenal went out there and pulled a Mourinho and frustrated City, I don't think that takes away from the fact that Arsenal haven't looked good since Odegaard went down, and they have to hope that when Odegaard comes back, he gets back to himself. Doesn't change the fact that even though Liverpool have looked good,
He wasn't out for long.
no. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. But like the point is, you have to hope. Like some players, when they come back, they don't look the same. We have to hope that he looks the same, right?
I'd say that if it was a longer injury.
No, but any injury is going to affect you. That's the point. Whether it affects him bigly or not.
The better analysis would be, could he play 100% and will it like be sustainable to where he doesn't get another injury?
That's kind of exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
but that's the point, which is just.
And I kind of understood like, oh, is he gonna come back and be good? I mean, yeah.
No. Is he gonna come back and be 100%? That's the question. Is he gonna come back and be 100%? That matters. And if he's not, is a 90% Odegaard good enough to carry Arsenal still? We don't know. Odegaard's been lucky. He hasn't really had that many injuries in his career. But like even the same thing with like new look Liverpool. Like they look really good, but they still haven't really like done anything that's like, okay, you smacked on United, but like, dude, it's United. What do we expect? Like, I don't know. I hope one of these teams goes out and win it. I just don't see a team that's going to end up being better than City. And that's just how I feel about it.
Okay. Well, that's a fair assessment. I do feel like either Liverpool or Arsenal, I feel like are going to take it from City, only because I don't know if City – I can't confidently say that I think City will pick up the pace. Though I don't have any like –
Pick up the pace. You can't pick up the pace. You got to hope they slow down.
I don't drop the pace is what I meant.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any evidence right now because, I mean, obviously it's 5 games. But I have a feeling like Arsenal could fight. Arsenal could fight, and if City slip up, it'll be an interesting season.
Oh, I think it'll be an interesting season.
Whether it's Arsenal or Liverpool, but I do feel like one of those
Villa's 4-0-1 right now.
I do feel like at least one of those teams is going to somehow give City a bit of a struggle. I don't feel like City have it in the bag, though I do feel like they have been playing well. I didn't necessarily love the game against Arsenal. I feel like Arsenal could have easily won that game had they had all 11 players.
Don't get a red card.
So, right. Nothing away from that. I'm just saying, for a team like City going up Arsenal, the way that they were playing just seemed like a team like City should have pulled away with the win and shouldn't have been should have tied the game before at least, or they were 2-1 down before Arsenal got the red card. They were 2-1 down either way.
Oh yeah, totally. And like again, so you could see Arsenal's plan was to frustrate City
right now, and I'm just saying. Again, they're doing great. They're gonna be in the race. I'm not like they're in the race. They're gonna be in the race for top spot no matter what. I'm talking about why I feel like teams could fight against City, because just those teams. Like, think about this, and again, this is all hypothetical, but a team looks at what Arsenal did against City. A team like because they just played Watford, but a team like West Ham or a team like, we talk about Spurs maybe even. I mean, any of those teams look at Arsenal and the way they play against City and how City struggled against them, and they're not going to take notes. I mean,
well, yeah, but
again,
here's the question:
it's just one game. I'm not basing the whole season off of this one game. We still know that City are going to be dominant this season, no matter what.
I will say
That's
this.
a fact.
I'll say this, and then we'll move on to some other teams. I totally get what you're saying, but what Arsenal did against City isn't anything special. Arteta literally at his press conference said, "Oh no, yeah, I just took something out of Jose's book." People have known how to play against Pep for 12, 13, 14 years
Then why haven't they done it?
because they can't. They don't have the players to do it. Right? Jose had Real Madrid. Jose had Sergio Ramos and
That's
Pepe
fine,
and Arbeloa, and it took
but
Arsenal, who
that's a
are the
team.
best defensive team in the Premier League, probably. Like, that's an objective truth. Last year, they conceded the fewest amount of goals in the Premier League.
Okay.
It took them to play, like, that's why. Everybody plays that way against City. Everybody just concedes possession against City and tries to play a low block.
Not everybody.
Almost everybody. Come on. Real Madrid did that against them. It's not like the blueprint has been out there. It's not that it's, Arsenal have come up with something new. It's just Arsenal are an incredibly good defensive team. Real Madrid last year were an incredibly good defensive team.
But I feel like
There's not very many of those.
But that's also important when we talk about the Premier League race.
Oh, no, totally. But I just
Also
don't think that there are a lot of
important when
teams
we
like
talk
that.
about the Premier League race.
Yeah.
And I just feel like and I'm not, and again, this is just one game. Obviously, I'm not basing everything off of just one game or 5 games for that matter, because it's too early to tell. I think 10 games would be a lot better, but I think that the next 5 games are going to look dominant for City. But I do feel like they might get a draw depending on their opponent. I need to look at the full list.
We'll see.
In 10 games, we can look at City.
10 games is a bigger
confirm
sample
whether-
size. That's the
Right.
thing. I think 10 games, I don't like to make definitive statements on anything until about 10 to 15-ish games. But 10 games, right now we have a gist. At 10 games, I think we have a better grasp of the situation. But speaking of a team that we were evaluating and it was going well, and now it's not going well. And by not going well, I mean they've just lost their goalkeeper for the season. Man, how are you feeling? How are you handling the Ter Stegen injury? Like,
look,
can't be good. As your
no,
captain, like,
I think that I know I'm gonna sound biased, not even biased. I might sound a little crazy, but I don't think it's a bad thing, only because Ter Stegen has been getting extremely scrutinized by the press ever since that Champions League game against Monaco, and it seemed like his season was gonna be very pressured, and that's not good for a goalkeeper. Because when a goalkeeper doesn't feel confident, and which Ter Stegen wasn't, and he's made a lot of mistakes the past few games, and especially with these high-level pressure matches. I mean, even last year when we looked at the game against PSG, we could talk about the Araujo red card and how it was careless, but if we look at that action, where was Ter Stegen? Why isn't he coming out when he's supposed to be coming out? Why does he seem pressured in those big matches? And imagine already being pressured, messing up your first game, and the press already coming for you.
in a game that they won, remember? Like, he's already getting pressure. Like, they haven't lost a game.
It wasn't a game that they won. It wasn't a game that they won. It was a game they drew against Monaco. They drew 1-1. No, they lost.
Yeah, you lost.
Sorry. They lost. I'm sorry. They lost.
No, yeah, but I think that if you're gonna give him a pass on the PSG game, like Garcia did get a red card, not a pass, but like, you know what I mean.
I'm not scrutinizing Ter Stegen. I get that it's just one game, but I feel like there was a lot of criticism going around him already.
Yeah, from the Valencia game.
Yeah,
that's what I meant. That's what I was talking about.
No, I'm talking about the Monaco game.
Ah, okay.
Because the Monaco game, he made a big mistake. And we lost the game.
Yeah.
And we're seeing, I mean, Valencia, he made mistakes. He's been making mistakes, and now the press is after him. So I genuinely felt like, not that it was the right thing that happened. I mean, now we're gonna be kind of, we're in a tough spot. Looks like we're gonna be getting Chesney. Not
here we go. I got the here we go from the GOAT, so I'm on board.
I need to see an official confirmation, but it's pretty freaking close. I'm about 85% to 90% chance they're gonna get him. And so that's my sort of take on it. I don't feel like it's a negative thing. I feel like it could actually be a good thing because Ter Stegen was already making mistakes and he was so pressured. Now, it's not a great thing, but I don't see it as such a negative thing like, oh my God, I'm worried now about my team. Don't feel that way. I don't feel that
I
way.
don't. I would, if I'm a Barcelona fan, I'm somewhere in the middle of that because I think that no matter what, even with all the conversations and the criticism, I would have wanted Ter Stegen in net, regardless of all that stuff. And I think that's more because I don't think Iñaki Peña is ready to be a full-time starter. You as my witness, I said it during the preseason. I can have the text and I can pull it up. I said, bro, Peña's got it. I don't know what it is, but he's got it. He's going to be a really good goalkeeper one day. He's just not there yet. I said those things about Peña. I will say this. I like that you guys are going out and getting a veteran goalkeeper. I like that you're going out and getting Szczesny. But I am very, very concerned about the reports that are coming out that say that Szczesny's going to be handed the starting job. I don't like that.
There was a report, for those of you who didn't know, there was a report of him telling Lewandowski, I'm not going unless it's for a starting spot. And
not a fan of that. Peña's been there at every practice for years.
First of all, we don't know how true that is, but I agree with that statement. I think Peña should be given a chance. I think Peña, he's a good goalkeeper. He's not a great goalkeeper, but, you know, we were saying kind of the same thing about Ter Stegen. Like, Ter Stegen's a good goalkeeper, but is he better? Is he better than Neuer? No. You know, like, we're not talking about
but that's not a fair comparison. You're comparing Ter Stegen to the best goalkeeper in the world for 10 years. You know what I mean?
I get it. But I think Ter Stegen, with the mistakes that he's been making, I just feel like, yeah, it sucks. It sucks not having Ter Stegen. Ter Stegen is a great player. I'm not denying that. But I genuinely feel like it's just better to, you know, kind of this happen now, because if he starts making these kind of mistakes later on, it's going to cost us a lot more.
But here's my thing.
I don't think someone who's motivated and isn't getting scrutinized, I feel like.
But he will soon.
Terribly.
That's my thing.
Peña
like, I don't think
Szczesny?
Peña, both. Szczesny retired for a reason. And while I like Peña, like, I don't think Peña is going to be this new perfect goalkeeper. And so I still think that obviously the best option was Ter Stegen. And even going in and adding Peña, I don't think it really changes the fact that, well, Peña is going to be making, I think, more mistakes because he's younger and he doesn't have the experience. The real question that comes down to this is, does this slow you guys down at all? And I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think defensively,
I don't think so.
I think defensively you guys have been sound. I think you guys are scoring plentifully, and I don't see your schedule doesn't get difficult anytime soon. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
like
this month we are facing you guys, which is
but that's like in the next what? That's
still in a while. It's still.
It's that's my point. It's just
you know, we're taking it game by game. I like what Hansi Flick is doing with the team. I think that we're doing good.
It's next month.
It's next month. I thought that was like, next month. It's because I'm thinking it's already October.
Yeah, it is not October. I was in the same boat. I also thought it was
in
October.
In 1 month, it'll be close. What? It's the 27th,
26th.
Oh,
but like that's the
exactly a
thing.
month from now.
Yeah. Exactly a month from the date of recording. But like your next opponents are Young Boys, Alaves, Sevilla, and then you face Bayern Munich and then us. That's not fun. You have to play Bayern Munich and Real Madrid in 4 days. You play Bayern Munich on the 23rd, us on the 26th. Y'all got screwed. That's messed up. At least you get a break. Because, like, Osasuna, Young Boys, Deportivo, Sevilla, like, that's a perfect ramp-up for Iñaki Peña if he's the guy starting. You know what I mean? That's it. Those are teams that you don't have to worry about him having to make a ton of saves. He can get his legs under him. Look at that. We both played German opponents for our Champions League games before the El
Who do
Clasico.
you play?
Dortmund.
I think Barcelona are doing well.
Yeah.
I mean, we can say that. I mean, that I don't think there's any objectiveness there. I mean, we can
No,
say
yeah.
that as a
Undefeated.
fact right now. We're undefeated in La Liga. I think that we're gonna. I don't think that this Ter Stegen nonsense is gonna affect us too much.
Totally agree.
And you know, I genuinely feel like the next 5 games. If we take it 5 games by 5 games, and the next 5 games will look good. We might get a draw here and there, but
That's the thing, is that you can't start slowing down now. And I think Hansi Flick is the type of manager that'll get the team motivated to play for Ter Stegen so that they can protect Pena for the first couple of games if it goes that way. I'm just more concerned about if these reports about Szczesny are true and he does get the starting job, how does that impact the locker room, if at all? Because Pena is their boy. He's been there. And we saw rumblings of this when Madrid went out and got Kepa. There was like grumblings and rumblings of why isn't Lunin, like Lunin's been here. Why can't he do it? And so there's that. Really quickly, I guess we can talk about Real Madrid. I think Madrid have looked better as of late than like in the first. I think their first 3 games were. I think their last 4 games are better than their first 3 games. I think is the best way to say it. The team is starting to click, but unfortunately, the injury to Kylian Mbappe, you know what I mean?
it's a huge blow.
It sucks. And the good thing is that we play Lille for our next Champions League opponent, so we're not really going to be missing him there. And the Atletico Madrid game, which is our next game, which is this Sunday at the time of recording, that's going to be a rough game. But it's almost kind of a blessing in disguise to have to play this game without Kylian because we're still trying to find our footing. I think a lot of the stats show that. Like we're underperforming our expected goals. And so being able to go back to how we played last year against Atletico Madrid, which was, I think, successful. They were the only team that beat us last year, obviously. But we have most of the players.
I think this will be a good. I think this will be a good test for you guys, in my opinion.
Oh, I think so
it'll be a good
too.
Test for you guys to.
I just wish
play
Kylian was
Atletico.
there. I would have loved to see what this team at full strength looks like against a legit opponent, at this point in time. And it just sucks because Kylian gets hurt, and it's just like he'll be back for El Clasico, which is great. Like that matters. He'll be back for the Dortmund game, and that matters. But like, I really wanted to see him against a team. I wanted to see this team versus a team that's so defensively minded, like Atletico Madrid, and how Diego Simeone hates football and how he likes to play. So I'm disappointed, but confident, cautiously confident is, I think, the best way to describe it. But yeah.
Here's my take on Madrid. And before I go on my take about Madrid, I want to invite everybody in the comment section to tell me if they did not think that Endrick should have got a red card for that. I want people to actually go in the comment section, please. If anybody watching this, please go in the comment section and tell me whether you believe that Endrick should have got a red card or not. Not saying I mean, my opinion is yes, but not saying he should or shouldn't have. I'm not saying I'm right. That's why I want everybody in the comments to tell me what they saw. Tiago says no. Tiago says no. I say yes.
A straight red for that? Come on. That's ridiculous.
Hit a guy in the nuts. I don't know. That's pretty violation.
Tapped a guy in the nuts after getting pushed.
It seems
after getting run into at full speed.
Anyway, seems a little excessive. But let me finish my take on Madrid because I'm not just going to base our whole argument right now off of one play from one game. I think that Madrid are still finding their footing.
Yeah.
but they look like Madrid.
They're getting better every
They
game.
don't look. They don't look. I don't think they look better than that last season. I don't. But they still look like Madrid. They still look like a team that's going out there to get wins. But I feel like depending on whether Barcelona continues to do well in La Liga, because we're talking about La Liga. I'm not going to talk about any other competition but La Liga right now. We're talking about La Liga. If Barcelona can keep up the pace, Barcelona or Real Madrid are going to have to find their footing, and they're going to have to find it fast.
Mm.
They're going to have to find it. They're going to have to find it because they cannot. I cannot look at Real Madrid right now and honestly say that they're going to keep up the pace against Barcelona.
If you guys lose one game, we're right there. We're 4 points back. If you lose one game, we're right there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying
I get it's 2 draws.
yeah, it's 2 draws.
2
I don't,
draws.
and it's 7 games.
I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm not saying that it's hypothetical, but right now, looking at the last 5 games, I don't see, and I'm not saying that it can't happen. Like again with the Premier League, I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm stating why I don't believe that Real Madrid have proven themselves yet to contend against Barcelona, and Barcelona has, because that's 7 out of 7 wins.
I'm not going to argue
7 out
that.
of
I
7
just
wins.
don't think. I think my argument comes back to I think you guys are,
Long season.
and the stat one, it's early on in the season, but I think also the stats show that you guys are massively overperforming your expected goals. And I think that you guys are going to come back down to earth there a little bit, regardless of the Ter Stegen injury. And I think that, well, Real Madrid is underperforming their expected goals, and I think we're going to come back up to normal there as well.
Again, it's
But
a long
it's
season.
it's
But if we're
it's
talking
so
about- if we're
early
talking
on.
about- I mean, it's early on, but we're getting close to the 10-game mark where we can make a more brief analysis. I mean, there's 7 games. It's not like the Premier League where it's just 5. 2
No,
more
yeah,
games.
we play more games early on.
So, and that's what I'm saying. Just if we're looking at just these 7 games, because this is all we have. This is the only data we have to base off of.
Of course.
And
Again, a
looking
lot of
at
things can
Madrid,
happen. Like if
a lot of
Real
things- a lot
Madrid
of
goes
things can
out there
happen.
and
You may be
performs
right.
badly
You may be
against
right.
Atletico,
but in
now we're
10
having a different
games,
conversation.
I think, but I think my not question, but my take here is that in 3 games, I hope, I don't know, I don't hope, because obviously I don't, but in 3 games, when we look at this team, when we look at the 10 games, will they be a lot better than Barcelona in those 10 games? Do you see that happening?
No.
From this
Here's the
7th
thing.
game
What's a
until
lot
this-
better?
until the 10th?
Because like my thing is like the next
I'm
3
saying
games.
let's say Barcelona gets a draw or 2, and Real Madrid wins their 3.
I think,
You think that
looking
can
at the schedule, you guys should win your next 3 games. They're very weak opponents.
One of our games, I think, is against you guys.
No, that's your 4th game. We faced on the 11th game.
Okay,
We faced on match day 11. Because your next 3 opponents in the La Liga is Osasuna, Alaves, and Sevilla. That's not a difficult set of opponents. So my expectation for you guys is that you win all of those games because you should, right? And the same argument could be had for like Real Madrid versus Las Palmas or Mallorca, which are the 2 teams that we drew against, right? But you guys should win those next 3 games. And I think Real Madrid's next 3 games are a little bit more challenging, specifically and only because we have to play Atleti. So I think that So I think that by saying that, you're putting Madrid already on the back foot. And of course you are. You're a Barcelona fan, like you should at every opportunity you can to down, like you should do that.
But
measuring stick for me.
That's not what I'm trying to say.
No, I get it. But
I'm
I think
not
that the
trying to say-
measuring
I'm not
stick
trying to
for me.
belittle- I'm not trying to belittle Madrid. I'm saying at this point in the season, they don't look like they're gonna get close to Barcelona.
See,
at
that's
this
where I
point.
disagree. Every single game, Real Madrid have gotten better. Every single game, they've gotten better. And I think Barcelona started hot and stayed hot. I haven't seen Barcelona get better. I've seen Barcelona start incredibly well and then they stayed there. And Real Madrid are going on an upward slope. I think the best thing that we can do is we can say the next 3 games are going to be fun and interesting, but match day 11, which is Real Madrid versus Barcelona, which is El Clasico, I think that's going to tell us a little bit more about how the season is going to go. Because at that point, we're more than a quarter of the way through the season, and Kylian Mbappe will be back.
Okay.
And
let me ask you this
it'll
question.
be
Let
El
me ask you
Clasico.
this question.
So
As of right now, do you think Madrid could beat Barcelona? As of right now, if they were to play tomorrow,
no, not tomorrow. Not without Kylian.
in the next 3 days, without.
No.
Right now,
If Kylian's playing,
Real
if
Madrid.
if the next game is against Barcelona, I think the best result that we could hope for against Barcelona, how they're playing right now, is a draw. I think we can still score. I think we can still play really, really well. But I think you guys have started very, very hard. I think you guys have started very, very hot and all of those things, and that's
I guess that was
great.
the point that I'm making. Is right now. I think that's the point that I'm making more than anything, because it's a long season. Anything can happen.
No, but what I'm saying is,
Madrid
if we're
and
talking about right now, like
Right now.
match day
That's my
8,
point.
we have to play against each other with
That's my point.
with an injured back.
Who's most likely to win that game?
Match day 8, y'all. Because we're missing Kylian Mbappe and Militao is still dealing with his injury. But if we're talking about match day 11, when the game is actually going to happen, with Kylian back and Militao at 100%, I think we win that game.
Let me ask you this. If Kylian was still playing right now, if he hadn't got injured, do you see,
Yes.
and we were to play in the next match, you see Madrid beating us?
Yeah, I think so. I think that we can still beat you without Kylian. That's the thing. Because we just play how we played last year, and we beat y'all both times last year. So it's not like I think I'm putting too much pressure on Kylian.
But we're talking
I
about
think,
two
yeah.
different teams.
No, but we're talking about 2 different teams. Exactly. I think we win. If we play if we play tomorrow, we beat y'all. And if we played you this weekend, we beat y'all. And I think we beat y'all in 11 at match day 11, because I just think that we're the better team.
Is that right now, I don't see. Like, if we're looking at who's doing better, Barcelona has been doing better, and though I'm not saying, like I said, Madrid are still going to be Madrid. That's not going to change. They're still going to go toe to toe with Barcelona, but they have. I think my overall point is they have catching up to do.
Well, yeah, we drew the first 2 games.
They slacked off in the beginning of the season. Now they got to catch up, and so the pressure is more for Real Madrid and Barcelona. Though the pressure's on for Barcelona to still win, they have a little less pressure knowing that they're up by 3 points right now.
4 points.
4 points. Sorry.
See,
They're up
I
by
don't.
4 points.
I don't think.
But again, anything could happen in the season. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that anything can't happen in the season, but right now, Barcelona are doing better than Madrid right now. Not to say that Madrid.
Well, yeah, I think that's objectively true. I just don't think that they're better. I think you can be doing better, but I don't think you're better.
But like we were talking earlier about Arsenal and Man City. If we look at these last 5 games, we look at who's doing better,
it's City.
We can't say right now that Barcelona aren't better than Madrid right now.
No. Here's the thing. Here's what I'm getting at. I think that Barcelona, I've said this, is playing well, very well, and they right now are 7-0. They are undefeated in La Liga. On paper, they are the better team, but games aren't won on paper. I think Real Madrid is the better team when it comes to level of talent and the way that they play and all of those things.
Yeah,
I think Madrid is better.
You see them,
but I think that just because of
or if we look at the actual, games that have been played, Barcelona have been better.
No. You have won more games. I think you're misconstruing my point. Yes, you guys are on the goal sheets probably. I think Lewandowski leads the league with 6 or 7 goals. Whatever it is. All of those things, that's great. That's awesome. I still think that. Yeah, but that's one game because you'll put 7 on a team. Bring that game back down to earth. Y'all are in the same ballpark as everybody else. If you take the one game where you guys scored, what is it? You guys scored 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that matters because you even said it yourself.
Because if we hadn't scored 7, then we would be
But
we would only be up by 1 point.
no, I still think you guys win. The point that I am making is this: is that y'all put up 7, right? That's awesome. Let's say that the rest, like that game looks like the rest of the games before it, where you guys were winning 2-1, which is a majority of your wins this season is by 2-1. So let's say you beat Valladolid by 2 goals instead of 7, right? That puts you guys at 17 goals. That would have put you at 1 more goal over Real Madrid. So your goal differential is inflated.
The 7, but we still are 4 points ahead.
No.
Like,
Totally. I'm not trying to take that away. I'm not trying to take that away. But what I'm saying is
yeah, but I'm not trying to take anything away from Madrid either. But I just see when I look.
I think the on-field product.
Looks at both of these teams right now, Barcelona have played better than Madrid.
I don't think so. I think the on-field product, specifically of the last 5 games of Real Madrid, have been better than the last 5 games of Barcelona. We haven't lost in the last 5 games. We have outscored our opponents in incredibly well. We've outpossessed our opponents incredibly well. Like Real Madrid, like you said, in the last 5 games have really, really come on in a big way. The only hiccup in the last 5 games was against Alaves when we took our foot off the gas and started subbing in a bunch of players to save the legs against Atletico Madrid.
That's regardless of the point.
But that's the only hiccup in the last 5 games. The Betis game, under control the entire time. The Sociedad game, under control the entire time.
Games that you guys drew, the Mallorca game,
but those were
the
first 3 games.
And what was it, Las Palmas?
Yes. But Kevin, gotta listen to what I said. Mm-hmm. The last 5 games, we have looked different than the first 3 games. That's the point that I'm making. The first 3 games, we were still trying to find our footing, figure it out, and do all those things. We get the international break, we come back. No, and then we play Betis, looks really good, take the international break, and then come back against Sociedad. And if you look at those 5 games or 4 games in a vacuum, I think that team has looked incredibly well because we handled business against Sociedad. We handled business against Stuttgart. We handled business against Espanyol. And we handled business against Alaves. And like I said, the only thing came was at the end. I think that we have, in those matches, looked like a much better team.
Now we'd have to look at what level of opponents have Madrid played versus Barcelona.
Probably about the same.
Las Palmas, who's at the very bottom.
Yep. And then you guys beat Getafe, who's right above them.
Okay, Getafe, but we also played
Villarreal.
Girona.
Yeah, Girona, 12th place.
Villarreal, who's in 4th.
Yep, totally. Yeah, that's a good opponent.
And who else have we played? Girona, Villarreal, Getafe, Valladolid, Rayo Vallecano, Athletic Club.
Yeah. No. But I'm just talking about the last 5 games. Because if you look at the last 5 games, because those are the games, that's when Madrid figured it out.
In the last 5 games, Barcelona have played Getafe.
Okay. They're in second to last place.
Okay, Getafe. Villarreal, 4th place.
Yep.
Girona.
12th.
Valladolid.
18th.
And Rayo Vallecano.
And Vallecano, 9th. So it's 2 mid-table teams, 2 relegation teams, and then Monaco, which you guys lost.
And who did you guys play?
We played in the last 5 games. Real Betis, middle of the table team. Sociedad, right above the relegation zone. Stuttgart, whatever. German team, kind of like Monaco, doesn't really matter.
Doesn't count. I'm talking about La Liga.
I'm just talking about the last 5 games, period, for Real Madrid. Espanyol, Again, another middle of the table
I'm
team.
talking about La Liga. If we look at the last 5 games, period, then we have a loss in there.
No.
I'm talking about La Liga.
Yeah, but I'm
That's what
talking
saying.
about the
Like,
last
it's
5
I'm-
games,
I'm
period.
I'm
If you want to talk about the
La
last
Liga.
4 games of La Liga, that's great. Like, then that's fine. No, because things changed after the Las Palmas game. That's my point that I was making. After the Las Palmas game, the team came out and started playing different. So if you're just looking at La Liga, it's the last 4 games is the ones that I'm looking at. When Real Madrid started playing better. It's Betis, Sociedad, Espanyol, and Alaves. So Betis, middle of the table team. Sociedad, lower table team. Espanyol, middle of the table team. Right? Where's Espanyol?
Espanyol.
Yeah, middle of the table team. And then Alaves, top 8. So it's not like we've been playing very different opponents. And I'm not trying to say, I'm just saying the opponent level has been similar. And
Somewhat.
no, it is. It has been similar. You guys have played 2 relegation teams in Getafe and Valladolid in your last 4 games.
Las Palmas.
That was 5 games ago. I'm not talking about that game.
Yeah, you're talking about the last 4 games.
I'm talking about the last 4 games. If you look at the last 4 games, all of our games came in the middle of the table. That's not the point. I just think the on-field product has been great, and the fact that you guys barely beat Getafe, the second worst team in La Liga, I think that matters. You scored 1 goal, and then you couldn't.
You guys literally drew against the worst team in La Liga.
Yes, but
At least
Kevin, the point that I'm making is,
and Getafe is not worse than Las Palmas.
I said second worst. I didn't say they were worse. I said second worst.
We didn't draw. We won the game.
Yes, but Kevin, what was the thing I said right before that? After the Las Palmas game, the team came out and started playing differently. You guys have started the season playing a certain way, and you've continued playing the season a certain way. And that, to your credit, is incredibly high. Totally get that. I'm not trying to take that away from y'all at all. I'm just saying I don't see Barcelona getting better, and Real Madrid clearly is. And I think that even though we came out of the gates stumbling, I still think that I called this. Remember, I said it in the podcast before. Real Madrid are going to come out of the gates stumbling. We're going to draw a couple of games that we have no business drawing. And that's exactly what happened. We drew a couple of games that we had no business drawing. But the good thing is we'll have an answer in a couple of weeks against y'all in El Clasico. Last thing before we close it out. This weekend, Bayern Munich versus Leverkusen. I'm excited. Are you excited?
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Good. I hope Xavi Alonso can. But then we got to look at companies Bayern now.
That's my thing, man. I don't want to harp on it, but 4 games, 0 losses, 16 goals, 3 conceded. Company has come out in a big way. Kane now is the highest goal-scoring Englishman in Bundesliga history. Like, you and I both came out hard doubting Vincent Kompany.
Yeah.
He kind of has shut us up.
Yeah, I would say. I mean,
It's only 4 games. But
I did say that Vincent Kompany was going to be a good coach, though. I just said he was still. I would have to go back, but I'm pretty sure I had said that I liked him because he plays with the team. But I don't remember exactly my comments. But I do briefly remember kind of pointing that out, and we came to a conclusion that he was still really young.
It's just a weird hire, I think, is obviously what ultimately ended up happening. Mm-hmm. And I had less faith in Kompany than like you did. I think you had more faith in Kompany than I did.
Yeah, I had more faith in him.
But anyway, totally get that. He's doing and then well. Also, they haven't played anybody in the Bundesliga, right? Like they haven't played any of the big names. They beat Wolfsburg, Werder Bremen. Like. They haven't done anything yet.
It's not hard to do that in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, like they have Holstein Kiel, whoever that is.
But Leverkusen, where are they? Aren't
second.
They in like 3rd or 4th?
They are in second place.
Second place.
Yeah, they have 1 loss this year, and it is against Leipzig. 3-2.
That's fair.
And again, Leipzig's one of the better teams in the Bundesliga. Look, the reason I brought it up is not for us to sit here and harp on it. It's not for us to have an argument. I'm just excited because, well, I think these are the two best teams in Germany. And we very rarely get to see German football and get excited about it, in my opinion. And when we have an opportunity to celebrate German football, I think we should do it. It's the same thing like when we have an opportunity to celebrate French football, we should do it. Or Italian football, we should do it. Like the Milano Derby just happened. I was incredibly disappointed with AC Milan because they looked good and then Inter just smacked the crap out of them. And that's just like, oh, man, like, you were supposed to like give us hope, and it's just disappointing, you know.
It is.
So we'll have to
But
see.
I think it's a good time to close it out and say, you know what, it's early in the season. We got to make more analysis in 10 games. The Champions League is also a big factor.
Yep.
But anyway, apart from that, let us know in the comments what you guys think. Let us know, how you guys feel about our takes today. And remember what I said. Remember to comment if y'all really thought Endrick deserved a red card for that, because that's kind of going to be a really good comment section to talk about. Anyways, thank you again, and peace.
Have a good one, guys.